AI and tech expert, Dan Södergren. Good morning to you, Dan. Just explain to us how this Grokipedia will differ from Wikipedia.
Well, I've been doing talks around tech and things for so long. I'm such an old man. You remember Wikipedia started in 2001, and it was this giant group project where it's almost like a giant library started by a chap called Jimmy Wales and others. And the whole point of this was it wasn't going to be owned by the corporations. It wasn't going to be owned by the rich and powerful. And everybody could add in articles and edit articles. And I thought at the time it wouldn't become successful, but I was completely wrong because it became the source of truth for the free world. I mean, people who have seen Wikipedia pages, most probably from Google searches, etc., and that's because Google loved it because it was seen as trusted and had lots of links in it, and people verified it as volunteers. So there's something like, even on just the English version of Wikipedia, something like 7 million articles and 5 billion words on it. Now, bear with me, because this is the bit which is important, which is when you look at free knowledge, because AI systems need free knowledge, they suddenly realised that Wikipedia was a brilliant place to go and get this free knowledge. So it was training the large language models and the AI systems that we now know and maybe love or not. And I think this is the thing which has stuck in the craw of Elon Musk, is the fact that he's looked at this and said, wait a minute, this isn't owned by the super rich and powerful. I don't like this version of it. It's a bit too woke, i.e. other people can moderate it, and I don't want things to be moderated. So he's now created his own version of this as a kind of almost like a right-wing kind of think tank on steroids almost. The whole point of Wikipedia was it wasn't owned by the rich and powerful, and actually Grokipedia, it's going to be purely owned by him, the richest and most powerful man on the planet. So you can see it's kind of not good versus evil. That's most probably a bit much, but you can see the sides that you can see which side each is on. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So the Grokipedia articles, they are written by AI without human involvement. Is that right?
It gets a little bit geeky and confusing, this bit, right? So if you can imagine Grok, because Elon Musk basically bought Twitter to have the data to create this thing called Grok, which is his AI system. That's why he bought it. And he's created this AI system which can now do clever stuff. It's actually going to be running X and Twitter. It's not going to be an algorithm anymore. The AI system is going to decide what's on there and not. So that's quite terrifying. And this thing's then going to be creating this thing called Grokipedia, but obviously I'm guessing Elon Musk will want human beings to be putting information in this as well, but Grok will be moderating it and rewriting stuff. Does that also make sense? But obviously it'll be done in Elon's own image. So it'll be like a bit like your naughty non-PC uncle who sits down and goes, oh, I don't believe what I read in the newspaper.
Well, yeah.
I think this
how does the system determine what is true, or indeed, as we often say in the modern world, whatever version of the truth that we might like?
Well, this is the thing that you should be slightly worried about, because, of course, it's going to be the world according to Elon. It's not going to be the world, because human beings aren't allowed to go into Grokipedia and say, actually, Grok, you're wrong. And that's the whole point of Wikipedia articles. Wikipedia articles, if you could put anything up there you wanted, but other people could say, no, I think that's wrong, and they could edit it. And so actually it became a version of truth, which is why Google and other people loved it so much, because it wasn't just one person's opinion. It was millions of people's opinions, and therefore, bizarrely enough, kind of crowdfunded the whole point of what truth would be.
So do you think Elon Musk is sitting there actually feeding some kind of algorithm into this AI model so that it does kind of reflect his views to some extent, rather than just being this machine that just goes out there and searches the internet?
Oh, no, totally. I mean, he's the richest man in the world, but also we can't stop that, as in he owns Twitter, he owns Grok, he owns these things, he'll own Grokipedia. We're not allowed to say to him, he's not allowed to do this. The thing will be, of course, is if other AI systems, because I talk about the future of work, and this is why it's important, if other AI systems start to look at that data and start to believe that, as well as Wikipedia, etc., his whole point is, let's make Grokipedia the source of knowledge for all AI systems, because I want to be able to control the AI systems and have the political viewpoints I have. Now, I mean, you could be worried by that. It just depends which side of the political spectrum you're on. If you believe what Elon Musk believes, then you think this is a brilliant idea. Not everyone, of course, in the free world does believe what Elon Musk believes. And it's kind of ironic, because he's actually acting a bit like a dictator would in a different country. Because dictators tend to kind of turn off the free internet and don't like it. But of course, if you said that to Elon Musk, he'd say, I'm doing this to defend free speech. It just tends to be his version of it.
And
Does
Dan,
that make sense?
yeah, and just briefly, do you think other AI systems would use Grokipedia for their information? Would they not just use Wikipedia because they might think it's more accurate or more trusted?
Well, and this will be the thing, isn't it? Every AI system, that will be a choice. The problem, of course, we have in this modern world is we don't know what's inside the black box of these machines, right? So if OpenAI decides to use Grokpedia, I'm not saying they would, but we wouldn't know about that. It's a bit like, you don't know what's happening in somebody else's head. Well, they could have been reading all sorts and believing the internet or believing YouTube. You don't know how far down the rabbit holes they've gone. Well, this is the problem with AI systems. We're not allowed to see inside what their brains are doing. And so actually, yeah, it could infect those AI systems. Yeah. Hopefully, every AI system will simply say, like Anthropic and others, will say, don't go to Grokpedia as a source of knowledge. But who knows what happens behind the scenes?
Well, my head is currently exploding. Dan, thank you for that. Dan Södergren there.
Mind officially boggled.